Thank you for joining me today to look at holds in Evergreen, Indiana. This is part one of the holds webinar. It's been split into two parts just because there's so much information. So today is probably there's a little bit of fun in it when we look at actually placing the different types of holds, but today is more of behind the scenes. So some of the shared settings in the consortium, hold and patron types. So like who can place holds, what types of items can have holds placed on them, what can affect hold placement. And then we are going to look at the different types of holds that can be placed in the staff catalog and how to actually place them. So resources, again, since we are still within the circulation world of Evergreen, we have circulation-based resources. The shared circulation policy, this will provide supplemental information to your own local circulation policy at your library, includes information about patrons, circulation, things like that. So definitely, if you haven't taken a look at that in a while, please do so. The circulation procedures guide, this gives a little more specific information about procedures within Evergreen. It includes information about the different patron profiles available and the general use of them. It also provides information about procedures on modifying patron records and maybe how to handle replacement cards, things like that. It can be very useful. It is updated semi-frequently. We almost talk about it at least every committee meeting to see if there are any changes that need to be made to make it maybe more friendly, more inclusive. Um, so that we are updating it to meet current standards or changes that have come across. Circulation knowledge base, this provides maybe more information about how to actually use the software. It is a searchable knowledge base. So if you were looking at, so type in the word hold and it will bring up the documentation that discusses hold. So how to place a meta record hold. So if you click on that, that's going to take you to that documentation for that specific hold type. I'm still adding, so if you find something that is not in the documentation that you think should be, please let me know and I will add it. There is an glossary available within the same knowledge base. Again, it's not complete. There's always things to be added, but this might be useful for those library or Evergreen, Indiana specific terms. There is a lot of library language tossed around a lot of the time. So it can be really confusing for those who may not be used to it. But this, I hope, is useful to those who need a little help defining what some of these terms that we use all the time mean. Um, with holds, the patron profile matrix and the circulation matrix definitely can affect holds within Evergreen. So I have provided the links to those, and we should be talking a little bit about those in a little bit. The Evergreen Indiana training server, a sandbox server that allows you to practice what you learn, place holds on accounts, practice placing meta or part level holds, things like that. It resets every Sunday, so it's a great and safe space to practice without worrying about breaking anything. And then, as always, all of this is accessible on our evergreenindiana.org website, your one-stop shop for all things Evergreen, Indiana. Um, this is where you will access those policies and procedures, those circulation and patron matrices, documentation link to this new knowledge base, and and a bunch of other things like training information, like learning tracks. So what kind of training do you want as certain circulation staff, things like that. All right, so let's go over just a few settings that are shared across libraries in Evergreen, Indiana. So in the system, holds expire if they are unfilled after 12 months. So what that means is a patron places a hold um, on an item. And so goes through maybe the 3 to 6 months, maybe it's a new item and 3 to 6 months pass, and maybe there is only one item on the record or it just hasn't been filled yet. The hold itself should expire after 12 months if there has not been an item that has been captured to fill it. Also, in these library settings, it is set so that holds that are on your hold shelf actually expire after 7 days. Now, we will get more into what this means in holds part two, but just a brief explanation. It doesn't cancel the hold that's on your hold shelf. This just kind of changes the settings a little bit on your hold shelf so that allows you to clear any holds that have not been picked up after 7 days. Obviously, this is just at the system or the ILS level. If your library personally chooses to keep your items a little longer, then that is up to you guys. Other settings, so items may be targeted to fulfill a hold even if the library is currently closed. Patron's home library gets first 24 hours of the hold request if an item is locally owned and available. Um, and then I thought I got rid of this last one. It's not a setting. Um, and it's more of it's a procedure in the procedures guide that patrons, if the library allows it, patrons can appoint a designee to pick holds up on their behalf, um, if the local library allows it. And if you have any questions as we go through, please go ahead and put them in the chat, and I will get to them as soon as I can. So who can request holds? All patron profiles, with the exception of the computer usage profile type, can place a hold in Evergreen. There is a max number of holds, excluding junior types and transitional profiles. That max is 30. Outreach has a max of 50. For junior types and transitional, they have a max hold of 3. The thing to remember, though, is where their holds can be captured from. Those with local access only cards or blue stickers may only request material that is owned by their home library. So holds may be placed, but only filled if their library has a copy. So now let's talk about the types of holds in Evergreen, as well as the patrons who can request them. There are 5 types of holds that can be utilized in Evergreen, and that is meta, title, heart, call number, or AKA volume, or item, or AKA copy. We are going to go a little more in depth a little later about each type and how to place a hold on them. There are 7 factors that might affect either a patron the ability to place a successful hold, or the item be allowed to fill a hold or transit. And it can be one of these, a combination of them, that keep a patron from requesting or receiving their holds. There's just a few different things that can affect that. So the factors include the patron profile. Are they a resident or a reciprocal borrower? What is the patron's account status? Do they have over $10 in fees? Do they have more than 15 overdue items on their account, or has their account expired? What is the circulation modifier on the items? Is it a video disc, or is it a DVD that can transit, or is it local hold placement only? The status of the item is important. So is it available? Can it even be captured for hold, or is it marked as damaged? Shelving location, this can affect are items in your shelving location holdable, or are they marked as not holdable? Age protection of an item will limit the transit for a for a set period of time before it will transit outside of your system. And then the pickup library, where are you going? Where does the hold need to be sent to fill the request? Patrons with a green Evergreen Indiana library card or a green full consortium access sticker will be able to place holds and have material transited to them from other libraries. Patrons that have a blue Evergreen Indiana card or a blue sticker are limited to placing holds only on their home library's collection. Those with computer usage profile are not able to place holds as they cannot circulate material. If, for example, a patron with a reciprocal borrower account attempts to place a hold, they will probably receive this item not holdable error message when a staff person tries to place a hold for them. If a patron's account is not in good standing, they will not be able to request material. They will receive, and by they, all of these examples are taken from the staff catalog. So all of these are what you as a staff person at the circulation desk will see. So the patron exceeds fines error will appear if they have exceeded that $10 or have $10 or more in fines or fees on their account. If they are in good standing when they place a hold, but then maybe, for example, accrue fines exceeding that $10 cap before an item is captured, the hold will stay in the waiting for item status until their account is back in good standing. Again, a circulation modifier is what defines how items circulate in your library. If your item has a circulation modifier that is defined as non-transitable, it will not fulfill a hold request from outside your library. Those circ mods that allow material to transit are audiobook, book, government document, music, serial, and then the transiting modifiers for CD music and video disc. And then we also have circulation modifiers that allow video games to transit. If an item is assigned any of the other circulation modifiers, they should not transit or should not be um, targeted to fill an outside hold request. This is an example of what might be able to fulfill a hold. So if you're looking at a record, you're looking at the item table and you see a bunch of DVDs. Some may have the transiting video disc circulation modifier, and some might have the DVD. If a patron outside your library has placed a hold, only the copies with the transiting video disc circulation modifier have the ability to be targeted for that outside hold request. If an item is in one of these statuses, that item may be targeted to fill a hold request. At least one item on the record needs to be in this status for the hold to be placed, unless that one item's age protection is active or it doesn't transit. These statuses include available, checked out, claims returned, in process and transit. If it's set to on display or on the holds shelf, on order items can be targeted to fill a hold, mending and reshelving. However, if it is changed to or is already in one of these statuses, the item will not be targeted. Also, if staff or patron are attempting to place a hold on a record where the item or items is in one of these statuses, they may receive a high-level hold has no copies error when they attempt to place that hold. When shelving locations are created, you select whether or not items in that shelving location can be holdable. If you select no, holds cannot be placed, even if the items themselves say they are holdable. The shelving location will override the item level attributes and circulation modifiers. So in this example, we can see that the children's puzzles shelving location is holdable, but the children's reference is not. So these items will appear in the OPAC, but they cannot be requested, or they will not fill a hold request. We know it's important to make sure our new items circulate to our patrons before it's allowed to transit outside of our branch or system. Libraries have the option to select an age protection level on their newly cataloged material, which will keep those items within your branch or system for the selected period of time. For example, you probably don't want the newest James Patterson or Danielle Steele monthly book to transit or fill other library holds just yet. Age protection is one function that keeps that from occurring. And it doesn't have to be the same for your entire collection. You could choose a 3 month branch or system level for your books and 6 months branch or system for your DVDs. This is set at the item level and is a local decision. The age protection date starts when the item becomes active, and that means that is when an item that has been in process is checked in. So 3 or 6 months from that active date is when the age protection will drop off from the item. By default, the pickup library, or where the hold will be retrieved from the patron, is the patron's home library. However, in the patron's user settings, that can be changed to another library if the patron requests and can be changed on the fly when placing the hold. This can be a common occurrence for those who work or live closer to a different Evergreen library than the one that gave them their card. For example, Boone County has three Evergreen, Indiana library systems. They might have a Thorntown Public Library account, so their home library is Thorntown, but they live closer to Lebanon. So they might choose Lebanon as their pickup location because it's closer to them. And while their home library would continue to be set at Thorntown because that is where they are eligible for a free library account, their default hold pickup location would be set to Lebanon under their user settings. And this can be done by you at the desk or the patron can do it or update it via the Classic Catalogs My Account function. If an item is age protected, the patron can still have their hold filled by that item if they choose the owning library as the pickup location, as long as they have a green Evergreen card. So let's go through the process of placing a hold, starting with going over a possible workflow in its entirety and then breaking it down. First, we need to request. So a library patron or staff person searches for the desired item in or title in the catalog. The hold is placed by the patron or staff person, and then the system will locate and target the first available copy. The owning library finds that copy using their holds pull list, and then the owning library will check that item in using the holds capture setting or the interface. The item is packaged and shipped to the requesting library, and then the requesting library will check in the shipped item using the holds capture setting or interface or the check-in. Um, the patron will be notified using the requested method. The item is held for 7 days, usually, or until the patron comes in. And then the item circulates as normal, though note the possibly different due dates from your local circulation. So searching for a record in the staff catalog. Um, I like to recommend if they're looking for a specific format, use the format filter. That will help narrow down the results a little more quickly. There are millions of records in the catalog, so the faster we can find what the patron is looking for, I think the happier everyone will be. So when we use our filters, we do our results. And then the next thing you want to do is look at current hold numbers. I think this can be very helpful. So each result has quite a bit of information, including cover art, a brief physical summary of the item, the number of holdings, number of holds, and some other record information. So the physical summary, which can be helpful for those who might be looking for a specific edition of a title. This includes physical description, so pagination, edition statement if it's available in the MARC record, publication information, and ISBN. We also have course title and author, and an icon which helps denote what format this result is. So this book icon tells me that it is a regular print book, whether it's a trade paperback, mass market paperback, hardcover. This is for regular print books. On the right side of the result is where we see the total number of holdings, along with the total number of holdings for the consortium. So all libraries that have holdings on that one record, and then the library holdings that show below that are based on your preferred library searched and or your default library as well. To the right of that, which is helpful, gives you a total number of holds that are already on that record. This will include items that or holds that are suspended and in transit or on the hold shelf. So keep that in mind as you are trying to find a record um, that will fulfill the hold request in a timely fashion. All right, so we are going to use the tools we just learned to perform a keyword search. I am in our migration server. So I'm going to go into the catalog and I'm going to look for a book. So I'm going to go into the format, all books, and then let's look for The Women by Kristen Hanna. I'm going to go ahead and add a second catalog field for author. And I'm going to search. All right. So we have 17 results for our book title and author search. So let's look at this one on the top. So we have a regular print edition of the book. Over here, there are 19 out of 257 items available on the record. And I have Porter Valparaiso set as my preferred library right now in my search preferences. So it's showing me there are 0 out of 3 items available. We can also see over here that there are already 128 holds on this specific record. Again, that will include holds that are already in transit and have been captured, or on the hold shelf and suspended. Now that we've learned how to read the catalog results to best um, provide or best fulfill our patrons or our own hold requests, so let's look at the different types of holds again and actually how to place them. Meta holds. So a meta hold groups formats of the same title together to allow a hold to target the first available copy across multiple bib records. So we could place a meta hold that will allow us to go across regular print, large print, maybe an audiobook. If the patron doesn't care if they get regular large print or an audiobook, then it's that hold request is going to target the first available copy across all of those records. So this really can be a great tool if maybe, for example, we have in this example, there are 5 separate book records for Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. We have at least 1 large print, a Spanish edition, and 3 English regular prints. And between all of these records, there are around 83 hold requests. And remember this, again, captured holds and suspended. If you just want to read the title and you don't care if you get a regular print or large print, a meta hold might be a better way to get your hold filled. To place a meta hold, we want to make sure the group formats and additions button is checked. It usually appears below the search term fields. This can be done before or after your initial search. If you do it after, you will have to click search again for the results to group. Um, and Note that meta holds usually work best when you are searching the entire consortium, when you're searching at the EG-IN level. When the results load, you will be able to see that instead of a single icon representing one record, there are multiple icons representing a number of separate records. If we were to click on this title with all of those icons, it's going to show us all of the records that were collected within that single meta result. See here, there are 5 search results that were in that one record, that one meta search. From here, we can click on bib records for each result or even start a title level hold. But let's go back to the meta result. So to start a meta hold request, we can click place hold from the meta result. When you click place hold from the search results page, you are taken to the hold form. This can be separated into the patron information and the hold information. The top is where you will scan or enter the patron's library card number and make sure the notification settings are set. And the bottom section is where you will confirm format and place the actual hold. To enter the patron's barcode, you can scan it or enter it manually in the place hold for patron by barcode field. Scanning it will automatically apply the user's information. And if you just type in the patron's information, it will start to load the data as soon as you finish. You don't have to click submit. The place hold for the staff account field will default to the staff working account that is logged in to the web client. So you see, once we've entered the patron's barcode, the page updates to include their account's default notification settings and pickup location. From here, they can choose to manually remove or add one or more notification options. So if they don't want an email notification, you can uncheck it from the list. And I will say, I know I believe last year switched to MessageBee for our text hold notifications. And while they do not require a carrier to be entered anymore, Evergreen still does. So if you have the notify by SMS option checked for notifications, you have it entered, but you don't have a carrier selected, you will not be able to click place hold. It will not let you. So you will need to make sure that the SMS carrier is still selected. Next, we want to confirm the formats and languages we are requesting through the meta hold. We can also see the current status of the hold. So here, the hold status is hold pending, so it's just waiting for us to request the hold. And above that shows us that we are placing a meta record hold on these records. For the format and language, if you prefer or need only copies in English, you can uncheck the box to remove any record for another language. So in this example, we would uncheck because we don't want anything in Spanish. Or if your patron wants a print copy, they can uncheck the CD audiobook format to just target regular print books and large print books. When you've made sure that the patron's data is filled in and the selected notifications have the appropriate fields filled in, the place hold button will become clickable. So we will click on that to process the hold request. The hold status will change to hold processing, and it may take a moment depending on how many records the request is searching through. If successful, it will change to hold succeeded. All right, so let's place a meta record hold. I'm going to just go back here and I'm going to group formats and editions. And I'm going to look for a popular title right now, or has been, is A Court of Thorns and Roses. I want to search the entire consortium. All right, so we only have two search results for this because we have grouped all of them. Obviously, the second result is not accurate, so we will come over here. So we see we have a book, CD audiobook, playaway, large print, and preloaded audio. If we were to click on the meta search title, it's going to show us that there are 7 records within that one meta search. Again, we can see large print, regular print, etc. It also combines those numbers that are available. So in this meta record, there are 64 out of 187 items in the consortium that are available, 0 out of 2 available in Valparaiso. So we are going to place a meta hold. So I'm going to click place hold. And now I'm going to enter our patrons account. Note that her name popped up here. Pickup location is set, and she has her notify by email and SMS checked. Let's say she doesn't want a text message, so we're just going to uncheck that. Okay, below here. So now we can choose the format. Now notice when we looked at our meta result, it showed like playaway and I think preloaded audio, and they are not showing here in formats. I do not know why that is. I've seen this come up before, and I have not been able to find an answer for that. Um, but we are able to still look at the book, CD audiobook, and large print formats. So like our example in our slide, let's say, okay, we're good with regular print or large print. So I'm going to uncheck CD audiobook. And there's only one language available in this meta hold, so English is the one that is checked. So now we are ready to place a hold. Notice how it's taking a few moments. It's usually a little faster than this. Okay. Okay. So this is an error that could appear. And this is why, or this is from, I think, yesterday's webinar where I billed the patron for a damaged item. So that is why we are getting this patron exceeds collection. It says warning over here on the override. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and click override to see if it will let me. It might not. Oh, okay. It succeeded. Okay, so we have successfully placed our meta level hold. And I think we're going to run into that again as we place more. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here and get rid of those bills. So pardon me for a moment. Let's go with, so all right, that puts me under that $10 cap. Okay, so sorry about that. Next, let's look at title holds. This is one of the most commonly used hold types. Title holds allow you to request a hold to target the first available copy on a single bibliographic record. So you are searching for first available copy for regular print or a large print, um, or an audiobook. So you can start a title hold by clicking place hold from the search results or by clicking on the title of one of the results, go to the record summary and then click place hold. You'll go through the same process as a meta hold, entering the patron's barcode, except this time you don't have any language or formats to choose. You are selecting from a single record and format. And you can see above the pending hold that it says placing title hold on record. Now, this is available for all hold types, and if your library chooses to use this as an option, let's say the patron comes in and requests a title but forgot their library card. Using your library's chosen identification methods, we can use the search for patron function to search for their account by name. So when we click on that, it's going to bring up, pop up the patron search in a little modal. So we can search by first name and last name, date of birth, whether it's year, month, or day, whatever you use to confirm identification. So once you have found the correct account, you will select it from the list and then click the select button. If you try to maybe select their card number or any of the data that's linked on the search result, that will open your patron's account and may have to start the whole process over again. So you click select and it will fill in your patron's data. So let's place a title hold. I'm going to go back here. Let's look up. Does anyone have any books that they are, if anyone can tell me a title to look for? Ah, The Hobbit. Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm going to type in The Hobbit. I do want I'm just going to try and narrow it down for book because we know there are going to be a number of records. All right, so we have 96 total results. And let's just kind of go through here a little. Maybe one that has, apologies for the scrolling. Okay, let's just grab this one. Um, and so we can either click place hold or click on the title, which I will do right now, and click place hold. So see, we are placing a title level hold on the record. Let's say Kayla comes in and forgot her card, so she has requested for us to look her up at Patron. Of course, that is a local decision. So I'm going to look her up. Now, the reason this name brought up this account is because these are preferred. Normally, you won't really have this issue, but I want to show you what I mean. So we have our preferred first name and last name. These fields will search both primary and preferred first and last names. So we have determined this is the same person. So I'm going to make sure it's selected and then click select. So now her data is entered. We are ready to go. I'm going to click place hold. All right, so the hold succeeded. A part level hold, this is where you can request a specific element of a bibliographic record to fulfill your hold request. We use parts on serials, film and television, and some monographs that have multiple volumes or are cataloged as a serial. So if you think about those giant stamp books that come out each year, as an example, you might use parts to help distinguish each volume from the whole. So example, in Evergreen, we place all issues of a magazine on one record. While it is not required to add parts to all of magazines, by adding parts to those magazine issues, we allow patrons to request a specific issue themselves without having to request it through us, which is what they would have had to do previously before parts, and staff could have only done that. Um, so after clicking place hold on a record with parts, you will be taken to the place hold screen. You can enter your patron's data, and then at the bottom will be an additional field to select from in the holds area. When you click on that, it's going to list all of the available parts on that record. So you will select it from the list, and then once you've done that, you will click place hold. You will want to enter the patron's data before selecting a part from the dropdown. Otherwise, if you select the part first and then enter the patron's barcode, the screen refresh will will empty out that part that you selected. All right, so let's do a television show search. Let's reset, return, go back. Okay. Does anyone have a television show that is on DVD um, that we could search for? I usually go for Game of Thrones. White Collar. Okay. All right. So we have the complete fifth season right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the title because I want to show you what the parts look like on the patron side. So my default view is item table. So when we are looking at items available, we see parts in a column. So all discs, DVD. Some libraries choose to split their TV season. So they are circulating disc 1 and 2 together, disc 3 and 4. Um, and so placing those parts allow that patron to choose. Do they want all of the discs at once? Do they just want the first and second disc? Before parts, if they placed a hold on this, they wouldn't know if they were going to get all of the discs or maybe disc 3 and 4 when they haven't even watched disc 1. So parts are really helpful in that. Notice that there are areas that don't have a part. When we place part level holds, these holdings, even with a transiting video disc circ mod, will not be targeted to fill that hold because they do not have a part attached. So I'm going to click place hold. I'm going to enter Kayla's barcode. And then we're going to go down here. So here's this part. I'm going to just show you the drop down. So we have all discs, disc 1 and 2, and 3 and 4. So I'm going to select all discs because that's what she wants and click place hold. So now that hold is going to target any of those holdings that have that specific part attached to fill this hold. These last two hold types are only placeable by staff, and I personally never recommend to use for patrons. Obviously, if your library needs your specific copy for whatever reason, feel free to use this, or if the patron specifically requests a specific um, holding. This is just my personal opinion because I feel like it can limit the number of holdings that can fill the hold request, and you run across more hopeless holds when you use call number or item level holds. So call number holds are when staff or patrons want material attached to a particular call number. Uh, Item holds are when a patron wants a specific item, an item that has a specific barcode. So if you do want to place a hold, let's say for cataloging, or just your patron does want a particular barcode, you can click one of these um, links for an item hold or call number hold, and place a hold for that particular title. Call number hold will try to target any holding with it that has the same call number. So let's say if Covington had two copies of the Lightning Thief under the same call number, it would look for one of those two barcodes to fill that hold request. There are a couple of other options available to you and patrons when placing a hold, regardless of type. Before you place the hold, you can choose to suspend the hold. This will allow the hold to be placed but not activated until a later date. For example, a patron may want a hotspot for their vacation in a week, but don't want to place it on hold now in case they get it too early. Suspending the hold until maybe a few days before they leave, depending, of course, when other hotspots are due, will give the patron time to pick up the hotspot and then check it out for the full amount of time they are gone. Or if a patron knows they want to read a book but don't want to read it just yet, they can suspend the hold and reactivate it later. And the reactivation should save their original hold date, hold request date and time. So I believe it should um, place them back in order, especially if it's like as a popular title. So they will not be put at the end of that list. So you will check mark the suspend hold button, and then you can use this calendar option to select a date in the future. This is when you place the hold, it will appear as suspended in the patron's account with zero potential items. The activation date column can let you know when that hold activates. And you can manually activate a suspended. You don't have to wait for that activation date if they want it earlier. Many libraries have book discussion books where instead of purchasing multiple copies of a book, whether it's because of space or budget, they can request multiple copies available in Evergreen. When you've entered the patron's information, a number of copies will appear below the suspend hold button. You can use this dropdown to select up to 30 copies and then click place hold. You will want to keep in mind that regular accounts can only place up to 30 holds at one time. Again, Outreach can request up to 50. And also keep in mind the number of copies available on that record. So if you're trying to request 10 holds on a record that only has 5 copies, only 5 of those holds are going to be filled. And then the other 5 are going to kind of be in limbo until one of the other books is returned, and then it's going to target that one of the next holds. So when you are placing a hold on multiple copies, it's going to show every or each copy in that list, and it's going to go down the list as it processes on whether or not the hold succeeded. Are there any questions?